Hello everyone and welcome to my Philadelphia Eagles Week 2 prediction. Last week was huge. I had the most views ever. Thank you guys. I guess you guys do like watching me. Or you're just really bored after the bar and you're just like, hey, what the hell? Let's watch Jose's video. Big week this week. Week 2, Philadelphia Eagles against the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Vick, homecoming, baby. Kanye West is like, homecoming. Big game. Georgia Dome. 8:20 on Sunday Night Football, NBC, baby. And this game is huge because Michael Vick's coming home, just like I said. But the Eagles lead the series regular season 15-10-1. And they have won 9 out of the last 10. 4 wins in a row. Huge. And we're 2-0 in the playoffs against the Falcons. But it's not playoffs, regular season. Last meeting was a 31-17 shellacking. But number 4 was at the helm. Number 4, Kevin Cobb, Arizona Cardinal boy. Hey, now he's doing pretty good at Arizona. First game against Carolina, Cam Newton tore him up though, 422, but they just got that victory. So last meeting, Cobb threw for over 300 yards. Macklin had 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an 83-yarder. Wow. D-Jack had 2 touchdowns, made a concussion afterwards by Dante Robinson's dirty hit. They ended up getting him like a fine of $50,000 that got downgraded. He got suspended for 2 games and 1 game or something like that. And D-Jack was out for 2-3 games. So, this is huge. The Atlanta Falcons are 24 since 2008 at home. The Falcons love to play great ball at home. Matt Ryan, as a starter, is 22 at home. His pass rating is 96.5. And he has 32 touchdowns and only 12 interceptions. That's like incredible. Eagles defense recorded 5 sacks against the Rams last week. They put pressure on Bradford all game. Also, Jaquay Park had a 56-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. I think he was like the 4th player ever to have, first or 4th player, don't quote me on this, to have 2 50-yard fumble recoveries or something like that for a touchdown. I think so. I read it somewhere this week. But here is the top things I'm watching, defense-wise. Tackling. Tackling is huge because if we don't tackle, they're going to just break through us. Michael Turner is a great running back. He was the top rusher in NFC last year with 1,371 yards. He had 12 TDs and he averaged 4.1 average yards per carry. LaShawn McCoy was 5th last year with 1,080 and he had 7 TDs, but he averaged 5.2 yards per carry, and that was huge, But they both want to prove something. Michael Turner wants to prove that he's still the best running back in NFC. LaShawn McCoy wants to prove that he's one of the best up-and-coming running backs in NFC. He's a great weapon, as I said last week. I think he's probably our top weapon, and look what he did last week. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 1 receiving, and 122 yards out of the 425 yards we had last week. 474, yards we had last week. So, it was huge. And Michael Vick had 100 yards, but he had 2 knee downs, or 3 knee downs in the end of the game, so it took him down to 97. But, Michael Vick, Mike Smith, right, the coach for the Atlanta Falcons, he's the type of coach that he'll want you to beat him. He wants you to beat him with your arm, not on your legs. So he's going to sit back. He's going to blitz Michael Vick, but he won't blitz him that much. He'll just sit back and see if he can beat him with the arm. He'll have a spy on him all game, and then it'll just be one of them games that Michael Vick has to use his accuracy and his great arm, instead of his legs. Back to the defense. Things I want to look at too is key matchups for defense. Casey Matthews versus Michael Turner. It wasn't a good start last week, but thank God for a quad injury to Steven Jackson that helped us out. Even journeyman Cadillac Williams even rushed for 100 yards. So, it's not too well, but the defense ended up strengthening during the game, so it was great. Another key matchup is Jamar Chaney versus Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez airs out last year. He had 2 touchdowns against Jamar Chaney, so he burned him. And another one is Roddy White versus Nnamdi Asomugha. Roddy White is a huge yards after catch receiver, just like Deshaun Jackson is. He's a big receiver that 6'2", 6'3", I think, and Nnamdi's, he's got his work cut out for him. So I think scouting report wise, I was reading the Daily News playbook they put out every Friday, and I kind of agree but disagree too with how they do the defense. Defensive line, they give it to the Eagles, advantage Eagles. Linebacker, they give it to the Falcons, because their linebackers for the Falcons are Curtis Lofton, and they got the guy Weatherspoon, and they have somebody else too. What's his name? They have Weatherspoon, Lofton, and Nicholas. Never really heard of them that much. I heard of Weatherspoon and Lofton, but not Nicholas. I don't know who he is. But they gave I understand that Curtis Lofton, he led the team with tackles last year. I think it's 142 with the Falcons. So he's 6'1". He's an intense player. He's instinctive. He's instinctive, and he's intense. So he would be looking to break up that run. Secondary goes to the Eagles no matter what. I know that already. We got the best. We got the best secondary out there. And special teams, this is where I disagree. Special teams goes to the Falcons. I think it goes to the Eagles because the Eagles special teams is great. I think this year, especially with Bobby April still at the helm, as special teams coach. I just think we have that. So that's what I did disagree about. But after week 1, the Eagles defense is ranked 16th and the Falcons 19th. It's after week 1, so you really can't look at too much. And another thing is too is the offense. The offense for the Eagles, it goes as this. Michael Vick is our bread and butter, but you have to use Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, and Jason Vaughn. They have to be in the slot. They have to get open this game because Brent Grimes is a good cover corner. He's the Northeast high school kid, the Shippensburg grad. He's a really good cover corner. Dante Robinson, a little bit disappointment, but Brent Grimes will be on D-Jack most of the game. So look for that. And another thing is too, their safeties aren't too good. So look for Deshaun Jackson when he's on Dante Robinson to go deep. I look to see if Jason Bott will have a big game. Maybe Brent Selleck will have a couple catches, but Deshaun Jackson's going to get on his horse this game. Offense. Our offense is ranked 7th. 403 yards they average now, but it's only after one game, and 386 yards for Atlanta Falcons. They're ranked 11th. That's after one game. So, but just this kind of report, Daily News said again, quarterbacks. They have them even, Matt Ryan and Mike Vick, but this is Matt Ryan's house. Yeah, I told you stats earlier. Matt Ryan runs his house, and he's a good home quarterback. But they had them tied. I think the advantage goes to the Eagles because the way Michael Vick is coming. I think Matt Ryan has more pressure on him this game because they're 0-1 after the big ass whooping they got from Chicago Bears 30-12 loss last week. Matt Forte ran all over him. Jake Cutler passed all over him. The only thing they had was good. The only touchdown they got was from the defense, Atlanta Falcons. So, Matt Ryan's still looking for his first touchdown of the season. He'll probably get it against the Eagles this week. Running back advantage goes to, I think they said Eagles, but I think it goes to the Falcons because Michael Turner is a more polished running back than LaShawn McCoy is. Michael Turner's been doing this for years. LaShawn McCoy's up and coming. I love Shady McCoy, but I think the advantage goes to Atlanta. Receiving core, all us. We have the best receiving core in the NFL, and we're on turf, so we're the fastest team too. And offensive line goes to the Falcons. I agree with that. Another key matchup for offense too is Jason Peters versus John Abraham. John Abraham has recorded 10 sacks 3 of the last 4 seasons. So kind of gets me nervous. He comes off the edge. It'll be Todd Hermans and Jason Peters on both sides, so they have to watch out. They're gonna have to focus, and Michael Vick's gonna have to point out them blitz packages, and he's gonna have to just figure it out. Check downs. Michael Vick doesn't have to go for a deep pass. He can check down LaShawn McCoy. Look how great that worked out for us last week. Another key matchup is Michael Vick versus Spy. Curtis Lofton will be the Spy because he's a speedy linebacker. Another thing is Deshaun Jackson versus Brent Grimes and Jeremy Maclin versus Dante Robinson. Last season, Dante Robinson was the one that gave him a concussion. So I think he's got a little chip on his shoulder, Deshaun. He wants to prove something. He did prove something last week. 6 receptions for 102 yards and a touchdown. A beautiful loft pass from Michael Vick. That was just gorgeous. Michael Vick will look like a ballerina last week. He was dancing, everything. It was beautiful, and that's what you want to see. But just when you don't want to, he got hit 11 times, and that last hit in the fourth quarter, when we're passing the ball with like 6 minutes left, why are we doing that? Marty Morderwhite should know better than that. So another thing too is we have the best receiving core, so we should use that to our advantage. Steve Smith will get probably his first catch or second catch as an Eagle this week. See him for a little bit more time. Riley Cooper will get more time too. Oh, back to defense thing too. No huddle offense. The Falcons are huge about the no huddle offense. They love it. Disadvantage of us because Jim Washburn likes to do the waves. He likes to put the waves in, defensive line. Puts the wave in with the second string of defensive line and the first string of defensive line. So no huddle will kind of hurt us, but Matt Ryan's always good with that no huddle. The Falcons love it. Tackling another week in the dome is a big thing we're watching too. Controlling Turner, defending Tony Gonzalez, and dealing with the no huddle. The no huddle will cause us problems with not making substitutions, like I said, and the Eagles have to have a 2 linebacker nickel package to run on them, so they're gonna have to stick with that. And the Eagles countered last week with a base defense much of the game, so see if they do that again and see what Juan Castillo wants to do. But I just see him, getting a little hurt from the no huddle, and that could give us problems. Did you hear about Deshaun Jackson's insurance policy? He just put out an insurance policy, just in case he gets hurt. He's not a contract yet. You need to pay the guy, pay him. But, he still has to prove himself a little bit more. They're just scared that if he gets too much money, then he might just go a little nuts. But I think he'll be fine. Matt Ryan had a pretty good game last week. He didn't score a touchdown, but he had 319 yards. Look for him to have an okay game, probably over 200 yards, definitely. And Michael Turner, we have to keep him grounded. We can't let him go nuts on us. Roddy White, we have to watch out for him too. And they have that young Julio Jones. He's a really good receiver. College, he was an Alabama boy. They jumped up 20 spots to get him, so they saw something with him. So, my prediction. I predicted 34-27, but I just don't think it's going to be that high score of a game. I'd be surprised if they score over 30 points, but, I'm surprised. But I'm going to go with 27-20. I know that's only 3 points away from 30 and doesn't make sense that much, but 3 points is huge in the NFL. So 27-20 is my prediction. 2.5 points is the line for all you gambling degenerates out there. Hey, football, baby. NFL, let's go. Week 2, 8:20. I bleed green, you bleed green, and Andy Reid. Time is yours now. Let's go. EAG.